Morning, tubers. I think what I'm going to do today is kind of a little run test on my motor. The other day I reset the choke on it, and what that involves is you can turn this thing, and I can attach, there's supposed to be a hot wire that touches this, and there's a notch here that lines up with a mark on here. You may not be able to see that. So I've set this right on the mark. Now what's supposed to happen is that this starts up and runs very fast. And after it runs a while, from inside the car without raising the hood, you should be able to mash the gas and this thing should click down. Now this thing sets an accelerator that is linked with the choke. So when the choke is closed, this accelerator locks the throttle so that it won't come back and slow down. Now, if it works the way it's supposed to, and I heard the rat rod do this the other day, it will automatically kick the idle down without you having to gas it. But sometimes on the older carburetors, you kind of have to gas it because that kind of releases everything and makes it go down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this fan on, which I'll say right up front, this isn't enough fan for this motor, but it's as much as I have to work with. You need some fan here to keep that from heating up any more than you can help. I went down and got me some gas, and I cut a vent hole in my can, because you see how this one collapsed? Well, the reason it did that is because there was no vent hole in it. So I'm going to connect that. I'm going to connect my alternator wire to my battery. I'll probably run another hot wire up to this thing. And then I'm just going to crank it. By the way, I took my hearing aids out, particularly because I don't need it to amplify the sound of this thing. But that's what I'll do. And you know, I've been debating whether or not to reset the valves. It sounds like it runs well enough so that I don't think I need to, but it still is an option if I decide that I want to. What I'm going to do, what I'm getting to, is the place where I push this motor back out of the way and I clean up all of this, and then I get the Rambler and start working on it as far as the power steer and the power booster brakes and all that. I'm still missing a couple of bolts. I ordered new bolts, stainless steel bolts with brass nuts to go on here. And I thought I had gotten them, but as I'm looking around here, I don't see them anywhere. So if I got them, I'm not finding them. They could be in something like that, but they're not. This thing here are filters for the boat motor. So I got some more cleaning up to do, but if I don't run across them, I'll go back and do some research to see what happened. See if my bolts ever came. Alright, I'll shut you off while I set the gas up and everything, and then we'll crank this and hear it run. where I want it to be, right there. You call that good. Alright, so I think I'll get back to cleaning up the garage some more. Thanks for watching. Alright, I'll go ahead and show you one more little bitty bit here. I had the fuel line going into the carburetor here and coming up here, and it was cocked out over the valve cover and coming back around into here. So I found this little metal piece that came off of an old transmission line, and it comes out and then goes back in and kind of comes down. So I was able to bring this line down under and bring a kind of a slow roll around to this. The only thing I don't like about this is where this ties right here. I see that might turn into a leak. So what I'll do is I'll find me some more of this kind of material, and I'll replace this little juncture with some of that. But I think that's a lot neater setup. We've got my fuel line coming up to here and then coming around and into here. My fuel filter right there. I think that's pretty good. She runs good. I'm very happy with her. I guess I could, it's cold now, so I could gas it, let the thing reset. I'll hook in this line here is what puts power to that choke there. So I'll put that onto there. And we'll just kick her over and let her run for a second, and then we'll go back in the house. So this is flat cold. Now that is really fast, but she should crank fast. On a cold day, she should have enough choke. See, that choke is pretty well cold, and as this warms up, she should close. And that's earlier I was working with this part right here, adjusting that to get that to the place where she would do that correctly. I'll come back out here maybe tomorrow. We'll crank her back up and let her run a while so she can warm up, and then the idle can drop back down, and then you can see that happen. And I can see that happen because I don't want to drop this over into the car unless I got all those little details kind of worked out in advance. That's my plan. Okay then, it's dark outside. Oh, the joy.